go. So, okay. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. We hadn't started really, so you're okay. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to do is go over that program planning packet. Oh, I have to upload that. Okay, hold on a minute. And then, wait a minute. It's her. I know it's here. There we go. Okay. So this is the letter I came up with. It is not very, it's just thanking them. I'll just read it. Dear local league leaders, the News Access and Literacy Statewide Task Force now wishes to thank all Colorado local leagues for their help in adopting a local news position. This local news position will allow Colorado and all of its local leagues to advocate against disinformation and in support of credible local news. In addition to thanking you for your support in adopting this local news position, we would like to ask that all local leagues take the following actions. So requested action 1 is to issue the attached press release to your local news sources. The press release is approved for distribution by Colorado. Requested action 2, add local news and democracy to your program planning survey. The League of Women Voters of Washington was the first to adopt this local news position and is asking for the support of other leagues as they seek national concurrence for a national position. The issue, local news and democracy, is Washington's preferred wording. That's what they're asking people to put on the program planning survey, local news and democracy. And then the third requested action is to feel free to link from your league website to the news literacy page. And I put that on there. 2024 promises to be a challenging year in terms of mis and disinformation, and now wants all leagues to have access to the news literacy page as a tool that will enable voters to recognize disinformation. Is that, to your all recollection, were those all the things we wanted to ask people to do? I think we talked about it at our last meeting. That's all I can remember. And I looked in the notes and I didn't see anything, but we may have mentioned something else. I can't remember. What do you think? You think it's okay?
I wasn't there for the whole meeting, but it sure sounds pretty good.
Okay, I couldn't remember, Kay. I remember you were making an Excel sheet that was going to have information on was it on items that were reported?
I'm not quite sure we're ready to go out with that to every league yet.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is I think we need to try to use it a little bit ourselves, okay, as everyone on this committee sees it, or even if anybody, I don't mind people who are kind of familiar with what we're talking about, because we may find out that this isn't what we want, or so I'd hate for it to go out there and then it becomes a document that people think is a part of this whole plan, when it's really just we're trying to use it to see if it helps us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Okay. All right. And I just thought of one more thing we should probably put on here is a requested action for us. So anybody from your league may please feel free to join now.
Yes.
So I'll put that as a requested action for. Has anybody seen the press release? The only thing I've seen is from Corey Hutchins, and he wrote something for the Coloradoan and mentioned our position too, but I haven't seen the press release anywhere. Have you guys seen it in any of the papers?
No.
Well, what I may do is I have to send some stuff to the Reporter Herald for something else, and I may just go ahead and send it into the Reporter Herald.
I would.
I
Now,
don't.
go ahead.
Collins, but I think that if somebody who lives in Fort Collins wants to send it to the Colorado, and I would do it. Why not? That's what we're asking everybody to do.
Did
I
you
have
send it to the Denver Post and the Colorado Sun?
Well, it's been in the Sun, because Corey Hutchins put that, and we could send it to the Post and stuff, but I'm assuming that that's, what Colorado, the Katina will send to. They said they were sending to all their their sources,
okay.
so,
Okay.
Good.
but I haven't seen anything, so,
I have a couple tiny points on it, Linda.
Okay.
Where you say we're asking that you do the following things. I think that would call for a colon there before the 3 items. And then in item number 3, I squirm a little when you say 2024 promises to be a year of disinformation. It's like a promise is a good thing. Like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
want to say, is likely to be a challenging year. Like,
Is
let's not
predicted.
make year
It's
be a liar.
predicted.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe as
Okay,
predicted
so-
as, I mean, because really, that
It
has,
is predicted, yeah.
It is predicted. Well, and we could say it's predicted that 2024 or something. I just don't like the word promises there because
Yeah.
there's not promising, and promises, I think they should be good. Otherwise, they're threats. And
Yeah. Mhm.
right, maybe that's what you write is.
yeah, 2024 threatens to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be fine too. So,
Seriously, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, or you could just say it will be, because we know it's gonna be, instead of messing around with these other words, but whatever, what do you guys think is best? Tell me, and I'll put it in there.
Well, I don't know if I'd put will be. Because,
I don't know that we will be either because we don't know yet. That's another,
right,
Oh, come
I think
on.
either predicting or it is likely or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
I
think
think we
we're
could
pretty
assume-
darn sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
a long time
I
into the
don't think-
future every year.
Yeah, okay, so which, raise your hand, is predicted to be, or is likely to be, or threatens to be,
I like threat.
Predicted.
predicted? Okay,
I like likely.
We're split. I like threatens because it has a negative connotation.
threatens,
And this is a negative thing.
okay. Anybody have a problem with threatens?
I'm okay with threatens.
Fine.
All right. All right. Anything else?
Just a question about when in this, I know when we talk about us as a task force, we use the capital letters. When other times do we use, when we talk about news and literacy with the page? Look through those. I'm just not sure. Do we have those all in the right capital where it should be? Because like on the thanks for supporting news and news access and literacy, the very last line, is that talking about thanks for supporting the committee, or is that talking about thanks for supporting the idea, or, you know?
That to me is the issue.
That's
Are the
idea.
issues.
I think
Okay,
it's the idea to me.
it's
yeah,
the issue.
it's the
Okay,
issue.
then that's fine. Okay, that's it.
And when you add about inviting people to join,
Uh-huh.
put when, I would say put the they can register on the LWVCO website.
Okay.
Calendar on the LWVCO calendar, and we regularly meet at the 4th Thursday of the month. And you can even put in the link to the registration page. Make it as easy as possible.
And I like you saying the calendar, because sometimes people say register and then people go there and they don't know how to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I like you saying the calendar. That really,
We meet at 4:30 on the 4th. Okay, how does that sound? Is that okay?
Mhm.
And then
But
I'll.
I would put the link there. The
I will put
calendar
the
link
link.
for the end, the end of the month.
I will.
Okay,
Put
cool,
the link.
groovy.
Okay, is anything, okay, anything else? Can you think of anything else we should add to this letter? Oh, all right. I have a thought, but I don't know, this may get might complicate things. I don't know how you guys feel about it. This is only for the program planning survey. But you remember last time, Colorado added news access and literacy to our Making Democracy Work campaign. Do you think we should ask our local leagues, encourage our local leagues to do that? Because when you look at that program planning survey, they are asking you, I think one of the questions, I'd have to go back to be absolutely positive, but one of the questions is, are you okay with continuing with making Democracy Work campaign? And we could ask people to say, well, yeah, but we want you to add news access and literacy. That would be in addition to promoting the new position. So do you think that just complicates things? I mean, I'm not saying to go to the convention and make a big deal about this, but it might plant a seed somewhere, or maybe not. Maybe it's just better leaving it alone.
Is it our position or Washington's position? Since
It's
they're,
Washington's position, but this is different. This is adding the issue news access and literacy to Making Democracy Work, because that has those 4 pillars or whatever, but it's got 5 now because they added election of the president by popular vote last time. But ours in Colorado has, if I can find it, I'll show you. We have 6 on ours because we added that to our, where am I? Oh, come on. There it is. Well, now I can't find it. We did have one. Maybe it's here. Making Democracy Work. Okay, and see, voting rights, improving elections, campaign finance, redistricting, direct election of the president, and news access and literacy for civic participation. Do you think that we should go there and ask local leagues to add that to their program planning survey, or should we just not do it this time because we're trying to get that other position adopted by concurrence? Do you think that's going to complicate everything?
I think it underscores it.
can
I-
they do it in collaboration? I mean, and that is, I don't know if that's the word I want to use, just as part of that effort?
Well, I think that might complicate things, and I don't know if Washington would appreciate that. I'm just saying for our local leagues from Colorado, if we just suggest that they add that, and if national sees 19 leagues or whatever we have that have suggested that, it might, like I'm saying, just plant a seed. But I don't know if I'd make this a big deal and take it to the convention, because we don't want to interfere with the effort to adopt a position by concurrence, right?
I'm confused, Linda. So, because I assumed that because Colorado said yes, we passed that hurdle, that this is what people would be seeing. But you're saying that they wouldn't because the directive is coming from national and they don't have it? What's our process on that?
Well, this is just what we have. my understanding is by the resolution we passed for our state league, this is just for our state league, that
Uh-huh.
this, our campaign for making democracy work, and we added that component to it. But this is
Yeah.
not at the national level. They did not add that. Remember our resolution that they didn't like, asked them to do this and they didn't do it. And I'm wondering if it's worth, because you'll remember when we submitted all our stuff for the resolution, they didn't like it because, well, no, what did they say? Oh, they said we were altering program because everybody had voted to continue with making democracy work as it is. And I'm just saying we could plant a seed or not. If I have a feeling it might not be a good idea because you guys are confused by it.
So-
Well, so,
So
but program
I'm
planning
not
then is coming from national, is that why it wouldn't be on there? Because state didn't write this, it comes from national and so it won't have it? Is that why we would have to assert it again?
Yes, yes, because this is Colorado's campaign. The national campaign has all of these little components except news access and literacy. We added that to ours.
So Linda, we
Yes.
added, Emma, did I hear you right? Is that we added this to ours after it was voted in? After the position was voted in?
No,
No,
Before?
no, this
it's
is separate from the
different.
position.
I know
Right.
it's separate, but what was the order?
this was added, Colorado added this to our Making Democracy Work campaign. We added news access and literacy for civic participation at our May meeting
Okay.
in 2022.
Got
it.
It was way before. This is when Jory
Oh,
and Linda and I
oh,
went
yeah,
to
yeah.
national conference with
2022.
hats on. This is what we got. We didn't get any movement out of national, but we got our state to add this. And that
Yes.
came along before we decided to follow Maine.
I don't,
No,
I don't know if I
Yeah,
did
it was in 2022. We went to the convention in 2022. We added this to, Colorado added this to their Making Democracy Work campaign in 2022, May of 2022. Then we went to the convention, but we couldn't even present the resolution to add it to the national.
I think if you think about advertising and you think about, they're going to hear at national and just this is my thinking at this point. They're going to hear about the Washington position. So
Mhm.
they're going to, this is where a lot of these members across the country are going to hear the initial advertising about this, right? The initial talk about this. And so this is going to sink in a little bit. I think I would wait till after that to push this, because then you already have the groundwork of,
Okay.
and it's just, I don't know, at the moment, that's what I'm thinking.
I think of it differently.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of, like Linda was saying, of planting the seed, because then when you're hearing about the position at a national level for the first time, you have something to hang that on. You've already heard a little tidbit about it before, and oh, there's this group, there's all these leagues in Colorado that are talking about adding this as a pillar. So I think it's useful to have that already kind of registered as high interest in this when the position comes to light at the national level, I guess.
But
or
from their perspective, they're thinking Colorado. They're not thinking 19 leagues, 19 local leagues. They're
well, that's
thinking
all right, because
Colorado is one of 50.
well,
Okay.
Yeah,
I
but
think
the-
that, yeah, but I think that's still okay. I mean, I think it's useful that they've heard it. And so they've heard it first requested it back in 2022. now there's a little more momentum behind it. So I think it's useful to put it on those surveys, going back in to register that, you know, we still feel, we still feel this is important.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's more and more, I think it builds a little bit more knowledge, awareness, and a little momentum. So, well, so I've said my 2 cents.
I could make another case, I think, in that direction, Kathy, is that it is a defense if anybody would look at that position and be like, but we're supposed to be making democracy work, and we look at this and it doesn't really seem to fit. Like, that could happen.
Well-
And then here's this fifth pillar with an asterisk, oh yeah, that thing that Colorado wanted, and it might actually be a defense for the ability to take on the position, despite the fact that anybody at national might try to say it's off topic for us this year.
You know, one of the things, and we've already planted the seed in 2022, number
We
one.
didn't, no, we didn't, because we never got our resolution to the floor. We never were heard.
But Sonia and who did Jory go with you? Whoever went with
I
you,
did, and I was there too, and we did
Yeah.
not get to say it.
right? But you talked to people while you were there,
Yeah, we did.
right?
We
And you had
wore
to hang-
hats.
and
Yeah.
you know, you had the whole that whole thing. So that was indeed planting the seed, maybe not on the floor, but you started talking about this. And we've also had what Maine has been talking about with their meetings. And we've had what, who else? I'm just like drawing a blank. What's the other? California has talked about in similar ways, have talked about this.
Washington and Maine.
Well, Washington, I thought, oh, in Alaska, didn't Alaska? do
Alaska
something
goes
as
to the-
well?
Yeah,
Okay,
Alaska.
so I'm changing my mind here. Can you tell this? Because the ball has already, in a way, started to roll, and people are, I think, very much attuned to mis and disinformation.
hmm
Okay,
And I'd
you've
like to-
plus you've got this election that we're saying it's gonna, and everybody knows is gonna be just a super challenge. Okay, so maybe it is the time.
And I'd like to add to that, I guess I think it is the time, because remember when I went back and looked at all the states, I looked at all of their websites. And just to add to that, Georgia's doing combating mis and disinformation. Maryland's doing the state of democracy, ethics, disclosure, freedom of information. New Hampshire is doing improving access to voter information. Someone else is doing broadband, high speed, and another mis and disinformation is Virginia, and then Washington. So I think we're seeing it come in other places. So it's sort of like, here's one more place it's coming from.
Yeah, shaboom, shaboom. Okay, we're hearing it. They're talking about it in all these different places. We need to make an additional pillar with
Um,
this.
Okay, so if we add that requested action 2 is to add local news and democracy, that's for the new position. From Washington's position, they're leading the concurrence and they want those words. So I could put the requested action 3 could be, please request that news access and literacy for civic please request, yeah, I guess that would be better. Please request that news access and literacy for civic participation be added to the campaign for making democracy work. Colorado, and I could put something about following Colorado's lead. Because we changed our state campaign. Does that sound okay? We don't have to sit here and worry about the words right now. I'll think about it, unless you guys have a good way to say it right now. Or do you want me just to add it and I'll run it by you later?
I would
My
say,
question is just, are you putting it in 2 or 3? I'm not quite sure I understood where you're going to put it.
I was gonna put it in as action 3. What do you think?
So then
'Cause I
we
think
have 5 actions, or you're going to insert it add it.
5.
5 actions. Okay.
How does that sound?
make it as economical in wording as you can.
I will. Okay,
Okay.
okay, all right. Okay, so I'll put that in there later and I'll, because I don't want to take meeting time to. Okay. And then I'll just go on from there, okay? Sound good? All right. So then the other one was about program planning 2024. Okay, so we pretty much, that's what we were, where I wanted to talk about. We each get to, Kay, are you gonna go to your local program planning meeting? You're muted.
Sorry, unless they do it online, I won't be able to. Yeah.
I
Okay,
think they were, aren't they? Well, maybe, I thought I saw it on the LWVCO calendar. Was
Well,
that?
I'll look and see. I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Denver or not, but I know something caught my eye there the other
Okay,
day.
let me, yeah, okay, no, I don't know. Okay.
well, let's see, I think Larimer County, they want me or somebody to speak at the beginning about what we've done. So, I mean, unless somebody else wants to do this, I will do it. And I'll just go through, I'm just gonna go through and talk about where we were and how we got where we are now.
Oh,
And
you're
that-
talking about the legislative conference.
No, this is the program planning, Larimer County program.
Oh, just Larimer. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I thought, well, I can't remember. It's been a couple weeks since I've seen the proposed agenda for the legislative conference. So
Oh, I don't have an agenda, but this was one of the items too. We've been asked to speak at the legislative conference
I
as
thought,
of
okay,
a panel on combating disinformation.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, it's not my understanding that I'm gonna be a panelist or something. I'm just gonna show, my section will be on the news literacy page, and I'll just show, that's why I asked you guys to look at the news literacy page. Were you able to do that? Do you wanna look at, let's
I
look.
haven't, in all honesty.
Yeah, let's look at it.
Let's look at it.
Okay, here we go. Mm,
I have to say something just because I'm not in with what y'all are doing in Larimer County. I am not as familiar with the program planning process. So explain a little bit to me so that I understand more what will happen in that. I don't know that process. I haven't been involved because I'm in Denver has so many local leagues under the Denver. And so
right. Well, I think this year, I think what, I think all leagues get to decide what they do, but I
Right.
think the general question is, this year, all the local leagues are supposed to look at the national positions and see if they have any suggestions. You can suggest revision or omission, deletion or whatever you want to call it, or addition. I mean, I think it's just, you're supposed to go over the
okay.
national positions this year and give your recommendations.
And next year it'll be looking at LWVCO again.
And your local positions, and I guess maybe you look at local positions every year to see the correlation between the state and the local. I don't, the
Yeah.
national and local and state and local, I don't know.
I've seen it take a
This
lot of
is-
different forms depending on how the local boards decide to run it. They've done it a lot of different ways, but it generally involves small group breakouts. So people can talk about why they think something isn't worth pursuing anymore because we already did it, or, change of direction and present new ideas too.
And I think I heard somebody say this correctly, but since we changed our bylaws, we can do program planning every year for Colorado. But it is every other year for national.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a lead-in for the convention.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and Linda, you mentioned that Jane asked you to speak about NAL with the concurrence model. She asked me to speak too for Observer Corps. So I think she is looking to kick this off with showing how Larimer has looked at things differently, how we're, this concurrence model, and then I'm going to talk about why we saw fit to reform Observer Corps into something that was a little more aggressive to help journalism. And then EAT had their amendment on fracking, which was a big deal for them. So she's launching this off with, the power that Larimer is trying to see with new eyes and run fast.
Okay.
Just so you know, otherwise I would be happy to help you speak, but I'm already speaking. Hopefully she'll put us back to back, so it will kind of flow.
It's not. She's got me speaking first. Eve Bingham.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
about each.
She probably didn't even think about that. I could just ask her. It seems
No,
logical.
I think it's 3 examples.
Yeah,
So that's why.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Are we ready to go to the news literacy page?
Sure.
Okay. So this is our news literacy page. It was created in, I would bet, 2021, maybe. And it's gone through some revisions. It's got the top, it just says we want everybody to be news literate and well informed. I never changed that very much. And then I did put the tools for spotting misinformation and disinformation, because I think that's the beauty of this page, is people can just go here and I love this postcard. This is Jory created this postcard for the voter services to hand out at their forums and stuff. And the only problem is that she created it with some kind of Adobe program that she can't recreate it now. but before it vanished, I got the postcard and I put it on here because I really like it. I think she did a great job. It's just one postcard that you can look at and know what not to do and what you should look for.
Mhm.
And then, pardon me?
I notice at the beginning, your intro part that you say you rarely change, you don't mention TikTok in there, and TikTok has come on. You list social media such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and more. I would just be putting TikTok in there because it's like, all the buzz lately.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll fix that. I just, I didn't create the page and people, well, you know how it is, creative.
Yeah.
Like, and all that. So I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I'll add that. I think that's a good idea. Okay, is the rest of the top okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. Because I didn't want it to be too long. Because I want people to get right to the tools. And if you have to scroll through a bunch of stuff, So, and then these are all these are with like News Literacy Project. This is the League. This is Fact Check. This is Pointer, Adfontes. This is the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. This is the article actually from NPR about how to spot artificial intelligence manipulation. If I could find something better, I'd put it there, but I thought this article was really helpful.
Have you gone, by any chance, gone through and make sure all these links are active?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And navigating misinformation, that's from that Institute for Policy and Design, and that might be associated with the Denver Museum of Science or something. We went to webinars way back when that they hosted. So these are the tools I have. If there were more tools, but I think I can't, if you guys spot something you want added, just tell me. I don't, I haven't come across anything. But I'm always open to adding new stuff.
These look good. You don't want to overwhelm people,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought kind of too. And
Yeah.
then the fake news marketplace recording. Then we have these featured articles, and some of these are really old, but they're still, they're good. I just don't know. I have to keep going in and increasing their length of stay on the website because they just keep every once in a while I look at it and I think that when they initially designed this web page, I think they thought that they would be constantly changing out these articles, and so they would never be on here. Like some of these things are from 2 years ago, but I don't see I don't like to add a lot of pages that you have to have a subscription. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't do anybody good if you get something from the New York Times and then you get there and they say, well, you've used all your articles for the month. That's just not helpful.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful. These articles, we've got a rule we made way back when we designed this page that they had to be vetted by 2 people, and 2 people had to read them and make sure they're not partisan and they really deal with news literacy. And right now, Dixie's the one who helps me read them. It was Ann Keith, and she doesn't she didn't want to do it. She said it was too much reading. So but I haven't changed these out in a long time is what I'm trying to say. I think it's still useful, but maybe, I don't know. It makes the
any-
page more, huh?
Are there any articles that you've put up on what the heck is it called? It's on the site that anybody can. It's on the LWVCO
On the
site.
now page, is that what you're talking
I'm
about?
not thinking about there. I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, word retrieval. I can't think of what it is. It's not like a blog. It's kind of like a blog site in a way, or I don't even know if it's still up there. Let me see. As I'm groping.
The forums?
The
Those
forum.
forums that
Thank
we
you very much. Have help me any way you can with this stuff. Because the forum, I think we've sent you and you've posted articles, whether they're from like the New York Times or other places that are accessible, I don't know, but that might be a source of just going back and looking to see what's in the forum.
Yeah, well, I think what I did was actually, I have an email list that I send to a bigger news access and literacy mailing list. That's where you're thinking, I think, and but that's another thing at some point I think this task force needs to do is we need to come up with a way to catalog all these articles that we share, because I mean, I've just given up. We share so much stuff, I can't possibly keep up with it. But maybe one person could volunteer to do that. I just have stopped.
Can't we have a live bibliography?
Yeah, I have a thought that we could ask. Remember, we have affiliation with a librarian who was happy to help us, and I would love to like grow that relationship. And if we said, hey, if we, could the library kind of archive everything that we've seen moving forward so that we can keep tabs on this, and maybe the library would actually share our page. Would find a way to share it or make suggestions and participate with it. Because if we had the cred of, participation of Poudre Libraries or the State Library Association or something, that would be awesome for us. And on a different topic, looking at all of these titles here. So I love the titles. I think having a systematized approach, which a librarian might be able to help with, where we would say every 3 months, for instance, we'd kick out one and add one. So there would always be something pretty fresh at the bottom. that might keep us, pitching articles to one another and keep this whole thing fresh. And when I look at these off the top of my mind, I see this one, detecting bullshit, which I'm sure it's good, but it kind of sounds a little passé considering how everybody pivoted to stare at AI in the past year. It was like AI blew up and now everybody is like, AI is just going to trick us like none other. And so people are reading about this, but he's a biologist talking about the evolution of cooperation in humans. And I'm sure it's great, but if you had to choose one, I mean, if we have to consistently continue to judge to say, well, there's something fresh or something better, because if it does get too old, people will write it off. And then that brings up another point, that it looks like this web admin process shows the day each one was reposted. I mean, they're all November 20th, and yet they're not. These articles are all different dates, and I'm not even sure that they're all articles. Like, is anything a podcast? Is anything, like, we might need to say, because I'm finding like a lot of my friends listen to a ton of podcasts and they're always pitching them to me. And I don't have a place in my life for listening to a 90-minute podcast. It's like, when am I going to do that? Like so people have their favorites, and they might look for a podcast because that's what they can do when they're, jogging the track or whatever. While others would only read articles, and we might help them in that regard. Because you don't know what
Yeah,
you're.
okay. Yeah, I agree. That one at the bottom, that truth be told, that's from the Freedom of Information Coalition from Sunshine Week 2021.
Yeah.
And it's a webinar, see, but we just don't have that many recommendations of articles to put up here that everybody can access.
Yeah.
So that's why this has stayed like this. It's been, I think they thought that when they designed the page, that we would go, because you wouldn't believe the steps you have to take to put these dumb articles on here in the first place. It just astounds me. You have to take like 3 or 4 steps. It's not just a link. And then like I said, when they lapse, when they expire, then I have to go back in, and I go back in, and that's why everything has November 20th, 2023, because that's the last time I did this. So, there's a better way, but I'll ask. Her name is Christy. I know the librarian. She's the Colorado librarian. I don't know if she'd want to do it, but she might have some ideas of how to make it better.
You might introduce us to somebody. I mean, if they just focus on that small section, because they might have librarians who could say, oh my gosh, you guys are missing this one thing that's so great. I mean, they might be pitching us stuff too.
Yeah, but we have to screen it first.
Sure.
So I can put it on there. So,
And my question is, I don't understand, how do we know where to go to, I mean, obviously you can do on the link, but right there, do we know whether it's from Time or whether it's from this or whether it's from that or whatever, is that
no,
stated?
we don't, like
No.
if you hit it.
And not till you go on to it, do you know? Yeah.
See, and then that's another thing that bothers me about this whole system, is you have to click twice to even get to the thing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that isn't
Why is that?
That's just the way Club Express, when they created this page, the people who created it want to use this feature for news articles, and that's the way Club Express has it set up. Instead of just putting, like when you go to the Now page or the Education Task Force page, we just put the link to the article, say go read this article. We don't put all these steps in it. I don't know why.
I think we can change that. Let's change it.
Okay. Okay, so we'll work on that part. And that's what
Yeah.
I kind of think too. I said I didn't design the page, and I've taken a lot of liberties, but I've asked permission, but I've kind of snuck it in there here and there. So anyway, I just don't want to kill anybody's ego. There was a lot of ego in this page. So
Ask permission from whom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who's,
It was Jory and Mary Dietrich who created this
Oh my gosh.
page.
That has to be forever long ago.
Yeah, well, I did
Don't worry
change
about
one
it.
thing. Yeah, okay, all right, okay. So
And
we'll,
speaking of one article, I mean, I don't know whether this is the page it goes on or whatever. This most recent Sun on the 1st has that one, Hutchinson's Corey's year in review, the news behind the news in Colorado media world. Somewhere, I don't know where this goes in, but this is really like probably some of the most up-to-date stuff that's happening.
Mhm.
right, and that could probably go on the now page. This news literacy page has to be for news literacy. only.
Okay, so this would go on the now page, okay.
Yeah, but I could put that on there. That would be a good idea, because that was a good article.
It was just a very good article, and it really talks about why we need,
Right.
yeah. And
Okay,
it has so many connections to so much research on it, because
right.
there's places you tap onto things and you see so much more.
Okay, so we'll change the news articles and we'll talk to Christy. I'll talk to Chris. Does anybody want to talk to Christy, the librarian, and tell her, email her, or do you want me to do it? She may be the one to have ideas. Okay, I'll do it. I don't see anybody. I can't, your faces are little, but I don't see you jumping up and down, so.
I don't know her, and I don't.
Oh.
She probably wondered who I was.
Okay, so here's the bottom of the pages. We've got that one bill that Colorado passed in 2021 to implement media literacy in school curricula. And
Yep.
then we've got the SPJ Code of Ethics, and that's it. That's what we have on this page.
Okay, can I talk?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. There are two bills that I have been in stakeholder meetings about in the last couple of weeks. The first one is a bill that Senator Lisa Cutter is sponsoring, called the Freedom to Read bill, and it's basically an anti book banning bill. Just so you know, that's coming down. And I was just sent today what is probably or just really close to the final draft of it. There's one change that they're going to make, but that's been an interesting group to take part in. The other one was met just yesterday, at least that we heard about, and from the discussion, it's still pretty new. Okay. And it's called, the bill's title at the moment is AI Electioneering Communication. And it is Representative Junie Joseph, Rep. Tatone, and Senator Hansen are the sponsors at the moment on that one. And it was a really interesting group that joined this meeting. It was everybody, Andrea Wilkins and I were there, but it also had Carly Copes, who is the Weld County county recorder and clerk. It had, what's Matt's name? Matt Crane, who's the head of the clerks organization. It had a woman representing the AFL-CIO. It had somebody from the Colorado Education Association. It had somebody representing Meta, somebody representing video games. I mean, it was like this huge, mix of people and attorneys. It was a bunch of attorneys who were on there who have clients who would be impacted by AI happening.
What does this mean, AI electioneering communication? What is the objective of the bill?
Artificial intelligence and
Yeah.
how that will be impacting elections.
I mean, so what's the objective of the
Campaigns.
bill?
Pardon me?
what's the objective of the bill?
The bill is to protect or to protect the public basically in having AI identified in digital and print election, campaigns. And
Oh,
what's
okay.
going out with them. And this one woman from the AFL just went off on, we've got to really think about the worst people who will be doing this and what kind of criminal penalties, and there are no criminal penalties in this bill right now. It's just civil penalties. Who can complain? Can it be anybody? Oh, there was somebody from the Attorney General's office. It was just like this whole interesting group of people. Somebody was asking, let's see, they were saying how they really had to be careful how they're writing this, because really quickly you run into the First Amendment
Yeah.
really quickly. Okay,
Yeah.
so you really have to be careful with this. Yeah, they were talking, this one woman from AFL was talking about revenge porn and how that can ruin somebody for life with AI and what it can do. There was somebody from the special districts organization and how it would impact her districts, and then also the clerks. People asked about local elections because the Secretary of State's office, which is the main one at the moment that's being talked about in this bill, they don't run local elections. They don't have the impact that the county clerks do. What else? Anything else with this? But you can see this was really a forum for all of these different people representing all of these different groups to be asking questions. Are you, asking is this going to be part of this bill? So it really is fairly new, and they're thinking about it. So it obviously is not going to be one of the first five that Junie Joseph is introducing as one of her first five, but she was the main one who was running this. So I just wanted to let you know that legislation, people are talking about AI and how we can protect voters against disinformation and misinformation from that forum.
Right.
Kathy, just to reinforce what you're saying, how current this is, I just put in AI with elections on my phone, and CBS ran something on the 26th. NBC ran something on the 17th. PBS ran something on the 27th. NPR ran something much earlier than those did. And then there's a couple different articles, and then National Conference of State Legislatures put something together and December 7th of 20, all of these in the last month.
Yeah. And they asked, people were asking, well, have you looked at the legislation that's passed in the other states? Because some, a few other states now have passed stuff. They asked what did she ask? Where did I write this down? If they looked at the FBI national white paper, and that was new for them. So they're going back to look at that. So that, they were asking for any kind of resources that people had. So they're trying to line this up so that they will have a lot of data that's coming in from a lot of sources.
So, Matt,
Go for it.
Maine has been doing a lot of things at AI, and they've got lots of forums and so forth and so on. So it seems to me they'd be a good resource.
Yeah, and I belong to their planning group, the Digital Democracy, and they have a Google Doc that has I got 3 articles from them today just on our AI. So, and I think their next webinar is going to be on AI. I can't, what is her name? Nicole Turner Lee. And she's going to speak, they want her to speak on the president's, Biden's, what did he call that? His stuff on AI, he had a special word for it, and I can't remember what it was. But that's what they want to talk about this time, so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Kathy. Is that
Yeah.
what you wanted to tell us?
No, that was it. Those are right now the only two bills, that I'm hearing about that would go under your umbrella. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, I wanted to, if we're almost ready to go, but I wanted to bring up one more thing really quickly is that the League of Women Voters of Washington has contacted me and because we passed, so I asked them what the wording they want for their concurrence at the national level, and I got that in local news and democracy. She also told me that they are really concerned about how they're going to get delegates to the convention, and Steve Waldman and Rebuild the Local News has
Yeah.
offered them funding to send them.
Oh,
And
my, awesome.
He also said that there's a possibility that they would provide funding for delegates from another state. And she wanted to know if I wanted to be part of that. So I talked to Beth, and Beth's on board. So is everybody okay with that? She wants to make the connection. Deanne does. She wants to stay in control of it. So that's fine with me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
that's what I thought. Now, there's another thing that I noticed when they sent me their preferred wording. This was a position we adopted. It was a single position. That was my understanding. I went back in all the emails before. It's a single position. It is all of a sudden turned into positions.
Oh,
All those bullet points, LN1 through LN5, they are making those separate positions. And I don't understand that, because if you go ask for concurrence, are you asking for a concurrence on each one of these? Did Tony?
this is
I
the
would
Tony
know.
question.
No.
Yeah,
And when you look at the position book, which I think all of you have, the material we were going to put in the position book and did put in there, it's just one position with various parts.
Yeah.
okay, well, they sent out, I thought, oh my God, did we misunderstand? So I went back and looked through the emails. It was single, it was one position. But now all of a sudden, Washington has sent, I got, Maine forwarded an email they received from Washington to their league presidents, asking them to support this concurrence. But it is a concurrence on positions.
They need to take the S off, and they may have been a little confused by the line 1, line 2 thing. But they read it now, it looks like and is one position.
Yeah, that's what I can't understand. I have to talk to Deanne tomorrow, so I'll ask her why they changed from a single to plural. I don't understand that, but that seems like a really bad strategy when you're trying to get concurrence.
Can you send them ours? What it's going to look like in the new one?
Well, I mean, ours is theirs, and it was a
Right.
single position before.
Right.
That's why I'm confused, and that's why I want to ask her why all of a sudden the change.
And Tony has it formatted with the position and then with bullet points under it.
Yeah, it's the same
Consistent
thing.
with our whole book.
Yeah, it's the same thing. All I'm saying is that Washington all of a sudden has changed their approach or their strategy, and they're saying that these are 5 different positions.
No.
That's how I read.
And I think to help them understand that it would be very hard then to go back for everybody and do 5. I think
That's
the
what I
likelihood of them getting through is slim to none.
No.
Yeah, and they,
This one white, this one sort of, you know.
right, and the letter they sent out to all the league president says, and Colorado adopted these positions too. Positions too.
Yeah. No, I
Okay,
think Tony's right. They got to lose the S. These
Yeah.
are all
Yeah.
facets. They're all facets of one
yeah.
position.
Somebody has just done something that they shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna be several positions. And there, you know, there's, as you were saying, there's no sense in having concurrence with all those different pieces. They gotta hang together.
right, that's what I thought too. I mean, like the healthcare position, it's got a bunch of different components, but it's one position, and I
Yeah.
just thought it was weird, and they told me that they have a national liaison or helper, or, you know, mentor or whatever, and I thought, well, maybe they told them, but it just doesn't, it seems like really bad strategy to me to break it up.
I would
So
tell them,
okay, you guys, are you ready to go?
yeah.
You hungry? Can you smell your husband cooking dinner?
No, I'm gonna be warming it up, but I've got a 6 o'clock, I've got a 6 o'clock meeting and then a 7 o'clock meeting, so.
Okay, well, our next meeting is on the fourth Tuesday at 4:30, okay?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll run that packet letter by you again, and you can make your comments, and then I'll send it to Karen Sheik, and we'll send it to all the local leagues, okay?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you,
Have a good evening.
everybody. Stay
Hope
warm.
to see those of you in Larimer County or in Loveland at the meeting at 7.
At
Oh,
seven.
yeah.
Okay.
Hurry, get to the next one.
Okay,
Talk to you
bye,
later.
guys.
Bye-bye.